Hello, hello. This is going to be another episode of the series Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled Gratitude as a Lifestyle. Now, before I start with this week's episode, I want to start off by introducing myself if this is the first time that you are watching this series, and also share with you what was it that prompted me to start this series. So once again, my name is Aurelena Martinez, and I'm a self-discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, a purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. And why is that? Because you could be living your calling and still not be living your a purposeful life, right? Because a purposeful life also consists of you enjoying greater levels of mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and why not even financial well-being? Because every part of you in your life matters, right? Everything is connected. And it is my desire that with this series, you look forward to Mondays because you know you're going to be filled up with goodness. You know that you're going to fill up your mind with goodness, your spirit with goodness, right? And what really prompted me to do this was the fact that there are some people that Mondays tend to be that day of the week that they're feeling frustrated, worried, anxious. And if that is you and you're already like, oh my God, I don't want to start this week, I don't want to go to work, let that be a sign that something needs to change because you are not designed to be living your life frustrated, anxious all the time. That is not how you are meant to be living, okay? And it is my desire that with this series, you get closer and closer to your truth, not culture truth, not someone else's truth, not my truth, your truth. And why is that? Because the more you know your truth, you live your truth, you understand it, you're going to be able to live a life more authentic. And it is from that place that you're going to be experiencing the kind of happiness that we all want to experience, but sometimes we think that we're going to get it outside of us, okay? That's the way to get it. And also, it is my intention that you elevate your level of consciousness. You're going to hear me say this every single week. Why does this matter? Because your level of consciousness dictates what resonates, what you're able to get, if you're able to see an opportunity and seize it. When you see that two people are receiving the same information, they have the same opportunity, and one person is successful and the other person is not, I can guarantee you, even though there's many factors that can play a role in why that is, one of them is the level of consciousness. The person that was successful was in a level of consciousness that allowed them to see something that the other person didn't see, to seize an opportunity that the other person could not seize. Your level of consciousness dictates more than you can possibly imagine. Say, for example, you go to a city like New York City and you look at the street from a building of a first floor. How does everything look like to you? Cars are going to look normal size. People are going to look normal size. If you're in a city like New York, of course, everything is going to look big, right? The buildings are going to look big. But if you go to the 10th floor, how does everything look like to you? The buildings obviously don't look so big. The cars look smaller. People look smaller, right? Your way of looking at the street changes. The same thing happens when you elevate your level of consciousness. The way you see things starts to change. Once again, this episode is entitled Gratitude as a Lifestyle. And the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because this is November, and here in the United States, we're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. I get tongue tied sometimes. Anyways, we're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving. And we talk a lot about gratitude, right? We talk a lot about gratitude. And so this is something that I mentioned in the TV series, the TV segment, excuse me. I'm here thinking series. The TV segment that I was just a part of that was aired all weekend long. And I said that gratitude is meant to be a lifestyle. And so that's what I want to talk about, okay? Because if you want to unlock what gratitude can do for your life, this is the way. This is the way. When you don't limit it to just a feeling, when you don't limit it to just that, right? It is meant to be a lifestyle. And that's when you're going to unlock the magic. That's when you're going to start feeling life very differently. That's when the goodness starts to come to you, okay? And it's going to seem like everything is working out in your life. And it's not that everything is working out in your life. It's because you're living with gratitude. And so I want to explain what do I mean with live with gratitude, okay? Living with gratitude is the totality of what it's like to live in the state. So gratitude is not a feeling, it's a state. Okay, it's a state. It's a state of thinking in gratitude, feeling in gratitude, being in gratitude, doing in gratitude, and living in gratitude. Okay, I'm going to be mentioning I said floor, the first four. Okay, the think in gratitude, feel in gratitude, be in gratitude, and do in gratitude. Right, because otherwise, there's so much to cover here, and otherwise, I will go beyond the time that I normally do this. Anyways, there's a reason why I'm using the preposition in. There's a reason why. Okay. And that's because it's the state that you're meant to be in. I know I may not be using the grammar right now, right? It doesn't matter. I'm using it on purpose. Think in gratitude, feel in gratitude, be in gratitude, and do in gratitude. It's all on purpose, okay? In case you are wondering. Anyways, the way that I'm encouraging you to use gratitude is for it to be a state that you're constantly living in, that you're constantly in, okay? It needs to be a lifestyle. When you notice that you're feeling in gratitude and something isn't working, this is because just feeling it is not enough, okay? It's the whole package that matters. It's you thinking in the state, feeling in that state, being in that state, doing in that state, and living in that state, which I have a reason for why I say living in. There's a reason why, okay? All of that matters. I want to start discussing what I mean with thinking in gratitude because this matters, okay? Everything starts in your mind. I want you to get that. Everything starts in your mind. You working on this is so important. This is the most precious thing you have. Your mind is the most precious thing you have, okay? How you think determines how you feel. It determines how much you do, how you process things. What kind of mindset you have determines to a great extent your capabilities, okay? Your interactions with others, how you show up in the world. This is why this matters more than you can possibly imagine, okay? This matters so much. So it's important to think like a person who lives with gratitude because how you think in general will affect how you come across to people, okay? Because it affects how you show up and your energy, okay? What does it take? Or what is it like to think in gratitude? I'm going to start explaining that right now. Number one, it takes being willing to think and look beyond what currently is. This is so important. I'm going to repeat it. It takes being willing to think and look beyond what currently is. This is so important. Many times, what trips people up is the fact that they are stuck in the what is, being stuck in the what is. People who think in gratitude are not stuck on the what is. They're not stuck on that. Okay. Now, I want to share something with you because this is going to be very important. So let this inspire you as well. And this is also in line with the topic. So this show that I was just a part of this weekend, the recording happened the week before, but it was aired this weekend. I have been trying to get on that show for 6 years. Okay. And I remember when I tried, I did a pitch. I did all these things that I thought I needed to send to producers and whatnot. And all I got the very first time I did that was a Twitter follow and an Instagram follow. I kid you not. I kid you not. And I was like, okay, that's not what I want. And then for a while I stopped and then I pursued it again and no luck. And I remember that in between these years, I tried to get into different shows. No, nothing. And then I remember that I participated in this program with two people that they teach you how to pitch to TV and media and all that good stuff. And nothing. I did what they said that we should be doing and nothing. Okay. And I saw other people getting on TV and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck? To see other people succeed and you have no success, I mean, it can be so discouraging, right? To be sending pictures and hear crickets. That is so discouraging. And I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw others on television and not me, I used to think, oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. You know, I'm trying so hard and nothing. And let me tell you this, if you're thinking that's not fair when you see others succeed, you're not thinking in gratitude. You're not thinking in gratitude. I'm pretty sure that one of the things that energetically changed the whole situation of me being on television is me thinking in gratitude whenever I saw that other people were on television. Whenever I met someone that was on television, I wanted them to be my friend. I wanted them to be in my space. Okay? I wanted them to be in my space because I knew that if they were in my space, it was only a matter of time for me to be one of those people. One of the foolish things you can do is be jealous or envious of someone that's doing what you would like to do. Okay? The reason why this is foolish is because by you being triggered by other people's success, that trigger will push you to the point of wanting to avoid that person. And by you doing this energetically, you're pushing what you desire away. Okay? That's the most foolish thing you could do is to be so triggered by what other people are doing to the point that oh, I don't want to see that person. Oh, I'm envious. You don't need to be envious. The fact that they are in your space and you're seeing it means that it is meant for you. That's why I don't envy people that make more than me, that are more successful than me, that are well connected than me. I am not. As a matter of fact, if they're in my space and they're doing better than me, I love it. I love it. And the reason why I love it is because that is an indicator to me energetically that what I want is mine. It's only a matter of time, but it's mine. Okay? What you should be instead thinking is, oh my God, that is so awesome. And mean it. When you're thinking it, mean it. Okay? Because energetically, you're bringing that to you. And I want you to hear this, okay? I want you to really listen to this. Whenever things are not working out, I encourage you to think the following, and this is part of you thinking in gratitude, okay? If a door just closed shut on you, and it's something that you have been holding on to, it's something that you have been wanting, I want you to think there's a bigger door, a bigger, better door that is meant to open up, but this one just has to close shut because otherwise that better thing cannot come to me. If there is something that you're trying to do, and for whatever reason, that opportunity is just not panning out, you never know if the reason why that opportunity is not panning out is because there are people that need to line up that you're meant to be connected with. But at that moment, when you want it, it's just not the moment. It's not the moment that you're going to meet those people. It's not the moment that you're going to be well connected. Okay? You just never know what are the dots that need to be connected, is the whole point. If it's love that you're looking for and you either haven't met the right one or the relationships that you have been in has not worked out, you never know what you're meant to be doing in the season of your life, that's the reason why you're single, or who you need to be in order to attract that person. You never know who you need to be. Anything that you are wanting requires you to be a certain person. Okay? You never know who you're meant to be in order for that person to actually arrive in your life and to be able to recognize you when they see you. Okay? All right. People who think in gratitude are not generalizing. I want to say that. People who think in gratitude, they're not generalizing. They're not saying all men and all women. Sounds familiar, right? And they're not shitting on their dreams. Okay? Like Jacoy, I think is the comedian that said that, shitting on my dreams. They don't shit on their dreams. They're not saying, oh, well, I guess this is not meant for me because this didn't work out. They're not thinking like that. They're not thinking like that. Learn to see the beauty in all the things that are not quote unquote working out. Okay? or the things that are not working in your favor. And if you're thinking, oh, Aura's just speaking positive because she does not know how it's like to go through things, I want to tell you this. The reason why I'm saying all these things is because life has shown me that when things are not working out, it's because there are things behind the scene that are working. And those things just they need to not work out, because otherwise they will block the blessings that are meant for us. So let me just share this with you. And this happened to me from the ages of 21 to 23. I believe it was 21 to 23, right? Because then I became a flight attendant at 24, or perhaps it was 22 to 24. I don't know, but it was several years. So the first job that I had right after graduating from college, well, actually, I was a Spanish and Italian tutor in the college that I went to. But before I graduated, I found a job at a restaurant called Cipriani, and I worked there as a assistant to the executive chef, because she's Italian. They needed someone who spoke Italian, and I speak Italian. So, anyways, that's how I got the job. And I remember that I really liked the job. I really liked the environment. I really liked the fact that that I got to speak my favorite language, Italian, right? And I remember when I lost that job, I was, oh my gosh, I was so sad. I was so vulnerable. I was so, so sad. And and right after that, I just had temp job after temp job after temp job. And one of the temp jobs that I had, temporary jobs, in case you're wondering what it's a temp job, I had one at a hospital in the radiology department. And in that department, I had to leave because I was being threatened, basically physically threatened, by one of the people that was working there. And I remember that when I said to the head person of the department what had happened, she didn't believe me. So I just quit. I quit the next day. There was just, I didn't even show up the next day. I said, F this. Anyways, but I called and I said I wasn't going to go back to work. I quit. Anyways, I'm not going to lie to you. I was so sensitive. I was wondering, is this how it is out in the real world, right? Is this the way it is? And what I did not realize is that life was lining up for me the most beautiful opportunity that did come to my life. And that was to be a flight attendant, 16 years already, flight attendant. And so the reason why I'm sharing with you that story is because if you're finding yourself in a position where you're wondering, why is this door closing and this not working? I'm trying to do this and this, you never know what is lining up. So I want you to think, whenever you feel despair, whenever you feel discouragement, whenever you feel, I remember someone shared with me they wanted to kill themselves because they lost their job of their dreams. Nothing is worth you losing yourself or your life. So I want you to always remember, something better is signing up for me. Something better is out there for me. This door just closed because something is opening up for me. This window just closed shut, even though it hurt my fingers. But it's happening because there's something better for me, because trust there is. There's something better for you, okay? Now, the second part of living with gratitude is not thinking, feeling ingratitude, okay? Feeling ingratitude. So I want to say this. Feeling ingratitude doesn't mean that you're not going to feel angry, frustration, worried. No. As a human being, you are a feeling being. So you're going to feel a range of emotions. Feeling with gratitude is about you training yourself to feel the good emotions, right? And to use the negative emotions to your favor. And the reason why I say negative in this manner is because I don't think any emotion has to be negative. What will determine how negative, or if an emotion is even negative, is how you respond, or how do you respond? What do you behave as a result of how you feel? That's what's going to determine whether it is negative or not. So frustration doesn't have to be a negative thing. But if you're going to take frustration as, oh, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, then it's a negative thing. Then it's a negative emotion. But it doesn't have to be negative. What can make it negative is the way you respond to that emotion, okay? Or if you react to that emotion. The key to using those emotions in your favor is for you to sit with that emotion, for you to get the message that that emotion has for you. So for you to understand what it is and then do something about it. It's not enough to just understand why you feel frustrated. You got to do something about it if you want to transform that emotion. What will take you away from feeling ingratitude is where your focus is. This is why I start with the mind, because everything starts here. Everything starts here. This is your computer, literally. And so, where is your focus? Where is your focus? You got to know where your focus is at all times. And also, do you have a bigger picture in mind? Do you have a bigger picture in mind, aka a vision? A vision is so important. It is so important. A vision is your fuel. And when you have a vision and things are not going the way you want them to go, you will still feel gratitude because it's a vision that you have. You will still feel gratitude for the actions that you take, even though there's a lack of results. I remember, and this was something that nobody knew. So when I published my book, because I saw my book in bookstores, I saw my book in the New York Public Library. Yes, I did try to get my book in the public library. It was rejected, but that's okay. Anyways, I went to several bookstores and I remember I kept getting no, no, no. I got some yeses, but majority was no. And the reason why I'm sharing this example, I kept going. I didn't care about the no's. I kept going. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is because when you have a vision, those no's don't matter. Even if they knock you down for a minute, even if they discourage you for a minute, but you keep going because it's your fuel. It forces you to think in gratitude because I kept thinking, damn, I know perhaps most people wouldn't do this, right? At least I have the courage to go to a bookstore that doesn't even know me. I don't even have a name. And, I'm asking if they would be willing to sell my book in their bookstore. So this is why I say that a vision is so important because it almost forces you to feel in gratitude, even when you don't see the results that you're wanting to see. Okay. And I would dare to say that being purpose driven forces you to look at life with the lens of gratitude. That's what a vision does. This is why a vision is so important. And the reason why is because so much can go wrong. I kept getting a lot of no's, right? And because so much can go wrong, if you think negative, you're going to take yourself out of the game. This is why this matters. Okay? You want to put yourself in a place where you can train yourself to feel in gratitude. The brain leans more towards the negative. This is why we must train ourselves to feel in gratitude and think in gratitude too, but feel in gratitude in this case. Okay. So number 3, now I want to discuss be in gratitude. Okay. So this is about how you behave. It also includes the whole being, right? This is what allows you to be a magnet for goodness. Okay. When there is a huge disconnect when it comes to gratitude, this could be it. This could be it. And you're going to understand what I mean in a minute. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are being in gratitude. This is so important. So the being is actually effortless. How you are being is natural. Like right now, who I'm being, this is natural. This is who I am. Okay. When unless you are consciously trying to change a part of you, then of course how you're being is not going to be effortless because it's going to take some time, right? But and I want to say this. If you're not used to being in gratitude, right? This is going to take time. So give yourself that time. So being in gratitude requires you to be aware of yourself. To be aware of yourself, be aware of what you're emanating. Be aware of the energy that you are putting out there. Now, what I'm about to say, if you let this sink in your being, this is going to transform you in profound ways. How can you know when you're not being in gratitude? Analyze how you respond when you receive a compliment. This is huge. Okay? If you in any way reject the compliment, you are not being in gratitude. And that may be a sign that there's an underlying thing going on there, right? Whether that is low self-esteem or a lack of self-esteem, or you don't feel worthy. Well, low self-esteem and lack of worthiness, they're cousins, they're families, basically, right? Where there's one, the other one is going to be there. Okay. You not being in gratitude. You're not being in gratitude if you're rejecting any kind of good, okay? When you're criticizing or judging, you're not being in gratitude. And this is because when you do this, a big part of this also has to do with you. Meaning, and I even discussed this in the course that I offer, Living with Gratitude, Master the Art of Goodness. That's the name of the course. I talk about how when we criticize something, when we judge something, we think we're judging or criticizing that, but there's something underneath and it's connected to you. It's all about you. It's all about you, okay? So these are just some examples of when you're not being in gratitude, okay? How you can tell when you're not. Being in gratitude is also about you savoring the moment. This is so important, okay? Being right there where you are, okay? When you give yourself the time to savor the moment, you will feel aliveness, okay? That's part of the art of living. When you savor everything, whether that is a moment that you're living with someone, right? A kiss, when you're kissing your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your lover, your, I don't know, your husband, your wife, right? It's you savoring the food that you're eating. It's really savoring the moment, okay? Things will feel different when you give yourself that present of enjoying everything, okay? People will even experience you differently when you pay attention to who you're being, or the being, right? I can go on, but I think you get the point with what I mean with this, okay? So now I want to move on to do in gratitude, okay? And I think the do in gratitude is pretty straightforward, right? It's all about the things that you do, right? So make sure that whatever it is that you do, that it comes from a place of gratitude, right? So be mindful of the words that you use. Be mindful of what you give to others. And this could be physical objects, but it can also be things that a person doesn't necessarily keep, but they can feel, they can experience, like your smile, okay? Think of loving ways to express your gratitude. It's so important to be mindful of what you give, because it's what you're going to receive right back. You always get what you give. Even if you don't receive it from the same person who you gave that to, somehow it's going to come back to you, okay? Doing in gratitude is also about you being present for others, like fully present. Okay, this is something that is lacking nowadays, especially with all this technology, right? It's so easy for people to be stuck on, on their cell phones, right? The doing must be backed up by the being. This is so important, because otherwise it's not going to work. Okay. And what I mean with that is, when you say thank you to someone, but you can't really feel their thank you, that's because they're not being grateful. They're not, that's why it's not clicking. So say, for example, you give me something and I'm like, thank you. It's very, you're not feeling the thank you, right? But say, for example, if you give me something, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Say, you don't have to say the oh my God part, but you get what I mean with this. You feel it. And that's because the being is being backed up by the doing. The doing meaning the saying, what the person is saying, right? The doing is what opens you up to the goodness. So what do I mean with that? So what I mean with that is, it's almost, how the law of attraction, they say you gotta, all the things that they say, but you also must do something in order for you to attract it, right? Because the doing opens up that space. Well, that's the same thing when it comes to this, right? When you're doing, it opens up. It becomes a container for you to receive. It becomes the container for you to receive. And I'm going to also say this, doing in gratitude will require you to be good with you. This is so important, because you can only give what you have. If you're not good with yourself, you're not going to be able to give the goodness that others would need, right? And what's going to help you be good with you is the inner work. doing the inner work. That's what's going to allow you to be able to be good with you, because the inner work, what it does is that it's peeling off layers, it's cleansing your side because it's removing all the things that don't serve you. Okay? You're going to hear me say this over and over and over again. Inner work, that's the key. People that are generous with their time and their presence, they feel comfortable in their own skin. Okay? They feel comfortable in their own skin. And the way that you get to a point where you feel comfortable in your own skin is when you do the inner work and you remove all the things that don't serve you. Okay? Now, I'm not going to cover much about this, but this is also important. And it's living in gratitude. And this is about creating this container to make this into a lifestyle, to make gratitude into a lifestyle. This is about integrating everything that I've discussed earlier, the thinking, the feeling, the being, the doing. Okay? This is very important because let's be real, life is life. And we will have moments where it may be challenging to be in a state of gratitude, right? And I'm only going to cover one way for you to start creating this container. And if you want to learn more, you could just get the course. It's entitled Living with Gratitude, Master the Art of Goodness. Just go to www.oraemartinez.com. Click on the button that reads courses, excuse me, and you're going to scroll down and you're going to see the course Living with Gratitude. One of the ways for you to do this, for you to create this container, is by setting an intention on a daily basis. Set an intention first thing in the morning. Set an intention. And if you have to do it the night before, do it. But set an intention. Because the reason why this matters is because setting an intention, this gives your brain direction. The brain needs direction. Because if you don't give your brain direction, what's going to happen is you're going to be distracted by the day. You're going to be distracted. And so many things can distract us throughout the day. So when you set that intention, you're telling your brain, this is what's going to matter for me. And so you're going to subconsciously and consciously, intentionally allow things that match that you set the intention for. This is why this matters. Because again, otherwise you're going to let yourself be distracted by everything that can go on in the day. You're not going to go by your flow. You're going to go by outside flows. Okay? You're going to flow with the world instead of flowing with your soul. So this is why this matters. And if you want to learn more, and by the way, share this video with other people. You never know who needs to listen to this message, okay? So if you want to learn more about how to create this into a lifestyle, I'm going to highly recommend that you get the course, Living with Gratitude, Master the Art of Goodness. Just go to my website, www.oraemartinez.com, and then you're going to click on the button that reads courses, and there you're going to find the course. And anyways, it is my desire that this episode serves you, that you start looking at gratitude from a different angle, that you don't limit it to just a feeling, because it's so much more than that. It's meant to be a lifestyle. It's meant to be incorporated on a daily basis and in different ways. And so I discussed those different ways in this episode. And with that said, it is my desire that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.